All right, well, Inspector, um, you've been doing this for a little bit of time now. You've been through a couple of exams. You've done very well, all things considered. But I would like to know what you draw from your experience, what you've learned, and what do you like the most about what you do?
I learned a lot. Actually, learned how to stand on my own 2 feet.
Mm-hmm.
I learned the difference between trying and doing.
Mm-hmm.
I learned when you try, you're not exactly giving your all, but when you're doing things, you're doing them. You're not waiting for secondhand opinion or things to go right or wrong. You're just going to do and see what comes from it.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that I learned is I learned that I have backbone of steel, which is a good thing for me. I also learned the difference between being yourself and being someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, because if you don't know yourself, you're very easily pushed and maneuvered around. I learned to study and make sure you know what things are coming your way. At least 85% of the time.
All right. What about the why behind what's going on? Does that help you to do your effort better, to do your work better, when you know the why behind things?
When I know the why behind what's going on, it makes me be able to, I don't want to say scan a document, but to look for what is necessary. If somebody gives me tasking orders to do something, I'm going to do it regardless. Am I going to be curious? Of course. But I'm still going to do it regardless. The why is just more of a motivation to get it done faster and more efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
So I know who or what the person is exactly looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that I learned actually was, like I said, to stand your ground. Being able to see tax forms done in this jurisdiction, there will be people who will try.
Folks that will attempt
folks will attempt to push things that might not always come to fruition the first time. But you can explain to them that if you do certain procedures, you'll be able to have it accounted for the second time around.
Mm-hmm.
And not to worry about the first time. The first time, it's not always going to be perfect. But as long as you're doing your best,
mm-hmm.
not just trying your best, but doing your best, you can't go wrong. You can fall, but you can't go wrong.
All right. Well, in terms of some things you learned in your efforts, in your actions as an inspector in Treasury and Budget, what are some of the things that you may have had a little bit of trouble with?
Because I come from another foreign venue, the hardest thing for me is keeping up with the dates. But I have a calendar on hand, so if I don't know what day it is, I know what day it is by a foreign jurisdiction. I'm able to crack open my info pack, page, and do the conversion.
All right. Well, how are you doing with the various tax forms you have to make sure are done correctly? When you first got to view the tax forms and see the process about doing the actual verification of what's being presented before you, have you had any issues with that? Any trouble at all?
Not really trouble, but have to be repetitious. When you're looking at a TB, I can never remember it. TBXT4?
TBTX4.
Thank you. TBTX4 to TBTX5. Those are two completely different tax forms.
Yes.
TBTX4 is, I say, is the beginning.
The standard form.
The standard form. If you just started the business in the venue and you don't have a lot, TBTX4 form would be better.
Mm-hmm.
If you're itemizing and deducting seriously, besides you only knowing that you're only going to get about a 20% deduction, you would use a TBTX5 form.
Mm-hmm.
The things that I learned is always keep your receipts together. Always keep your receipts and records together. Even if you can't find one, businesses are allowed to print out certain other receipts to cover this. But please keep your records together. Please. Because it may come a time where, because you're missing a receipt or an itemization page of what you bought, you might end up getting audited. And then you're really not going to be feeling what's going on. But it's only because your records wasn't in order.
Right. Well,
or at least put together in the same shoebox.
Well, auditing is under your purview, so.
Yes. So at least keep your records together. Also, keep a very good inventory of when you bought things, why you bought them, how much it cost you, and how much your total is at the end of the tax period. So when the form comes, you have a copy to show not only what is in inventory, but also what you bought and sold out. When you're able to show these things in documents, you also can prove to yourself that you can run a business efficiently.
Just one thing to that, are you looking for information regarding depreciation of particular items they may have acquired as well?
Yes. It depends on exactly the equipment, though. Like, for example, if you're brewing tea,
yes,
your pots and pans have severely depreciated because they're being used. And if you bought them used, you have to make sure there's a salvage price on what you bought them. So if you're using, say, 3-quart or 3-gallon pot, and you, well, I come from an old school, you know that your pot's going to be used for about 2 or 3 years. You should also know what your salvage price is and how much it actually depreciated from how much you bought it. So when you go to itemize or deduct, you only know how much percentage you can deduct for. And if you need to do a trade and sell with the pot that you used, you also need to know how much you're going to gain back because of the blue book value on your equipment.
There might be blue book in a particular jurisdiction, but others have a different type of setting. But I know the point that you're making.
Yes.
Well, you're coming along very well, Inspector. And
thank you.
Yes, do take a bow. It's well earned. We look forward to your continued growth and development, and we'll see what turns you make as you grow. You may be promoted somewhere soon. If you earn it.
All right.
Always earned, never given.
All right.
All right? Remember that.